Okay, everyone, let's begin. Okay, so just to understand the background of people over here, how many of you are working professionals? Raise your hand. Nice, nice. 27, 29. Nice. Okay, okay, okay. Perfect, perfect. Okay, lower your hands. Perfect. And how many of you are from a computer science background? Nice. Okay, perfect. So how many of you already know about what a load balancer does? Perfect. Okay, so let's start with a very simple concept and then move on to understanding how load balancers and these fancy terms in computer science come into the play. Right? So we'll be talking about a few things and then slowly we will move towards a demonstration as well. Right? We are looking at somewhere less than half an hour of discussion. Right? If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat or towards the end also uh, we'll have dedicated discussions as well, Q&A session. So let's get started. So let's talk about a very basic concept. We're talking about these fancy terms, load balancers and systems and all those things we will come to later. Right? Let's start with something very basic. Right? A service company versus a product company. Right? I like to start with this concept often because it builds a base for a lot of concepts. Right? For instance, what do you think is the difference between a service company and a product company? Any suggestions? If you can unmute yourself, or if you want to use the chat, if it is open right now. Any idea what a service company does versus what a product company does? Okay, Srinivas. Yeah, Srinivas. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, Sunny, Kumar, Sunny. Not able to unmute. Okay, never mind. Let's just go with the flow. So a service company, if you talk about it, service company starts off with serving clients. Right? That is why it is called service company. A company that has multiple clients, it is giving some service to the client, right? And if you if you understand the concept, a service can be anything, right? A service could be that, hey, why don't you send me an image, and I'll give you the black and white copy of it, right? As of today, Google Photos might, just give you a black and white copy, but just by dragging the slider towards left or towards right, it will give you a black and white grayscale image, right? But then that is a platform, that is a product, right? Let's say it does not exist. A product like that does not exist, and I have a very proprietary tool that will help me turn that image into a grayscale image. Or maybe I'm changing pixel by pixel manually, right? And giving you a black and white image. Right. So it's a service. You give me an image. I manually change the pixel of each and every. I manually change the pixel, and I give you a black and white image. Right. Let's take a little more concrete example. Recruitment, for example. Uh, I am a recruitment firm, for instance, and uh, you have good talent. Come to me. I will find candidates and I'll connect you to them. Right. I am serving a demand. Right. Now this is a service providing. This is a service provider. This is a service company. Right? Now let's talk about product companies. Product companies, on the other hand, have a product. Right? What is a product? A product is a platform. It could be a website. It could be a mobile application. It could be an interface. Right? It could be a PWA. If in case you don't know PWA, it's a progressive web app. Right? It could be a Chrome extension. It could be a WhatsApp group as well. Like a platform is a concept. It need not necessarily translate into uh, the standard definition that a platform has to be a website or a platform has to be an application. A platform is something where you can get the work done yourself. Okay. I'll give you an example. I want to check my emails. What do I do? I go to mail.google.com, Gmail, right? I log in. I'm able to access my emails. Now imagine the same version for a service company would have been very different. It would have been, I call up my mail provider. Hey Google, I want to access my emails. Can you send it to me? It'll be like, yeah, yeah, I'm shipping you the emails. It will send me the emails. Hey Google, I want to send an email to, let's say, Pankaj. Right? Can you send this email to Pankaj? You'll be like, yes, I'll do that. In stock market, this used to happen. People used to call brokers, and the broker used to, trade. Oh, okay, Reliance. Okay, how much? Like 100. What is the rate? 85. Okay, done. Sold. Like, no, you have to buy it. Okay, okay, buy it. Bought. Just kidding. But you get the idea. A service versus a product. As of today, you can do the same on Zerodha. You can do the same on other uh, trading platforms, for instance. Right? So that is the difference between a service and a product. Now, here's the question: why is this important to us? Why are we even talking about service versus product? I'm looking for one word, if you can. One word, just one word. Any suggestions? I'm assuming the chat is open. If you can give me that one word, what is ownership? No. What is that one word that creates a difference between a service company versus a product company? Delegation, scale. Perfect, Bharatwaj. I'm talking about scale. When you talk about ease of access and product, agile, delegation, ownership, all of those things are things that a service company provides. Correct. It gives you a lot of ownership. It gives you a way to delegate. Right? But the major stark difference between a service company versus a product company is that product companies can scale very well. Right? Products, by its definition, are scalable. Right? When you talk about products being scalable, what does this word, this five-lettered word, scale, mean? Right? It basically means that, hey, if I talk about a service company, let's say I'm a broker, right? I'm a stock market broker, right? I have 50 clients with me. Everyone gives me a call during the stock market hours and tells me what is the trade that they want to execute. Hey, buy Reliance for 50. Buy 50 share stocks of Reliance. Like done. Hey, I'm Kapasi. I want to sell, let's say, 100 stocks of, let's say, IBM. Like done. Like I'm Kamath. I want to buy 250 stocks of, let's say, Wipro. Like done. Whatever it is. But this, how many calls do you think I can attend in those, let's say, 8 hours or 9 hours of trading? I can attend 50 calls, 100 calls, 200 calls, 500 calls at max. Right? Now, 500 calls maybe would be coming from 50 customers, 100 customers. Do you think I can imagine a point where I'm taking 1,000 calls in those 9 hours? Is it possible? No. Right? Do you think B2B in service, B2C's product? No, Omkar, that is also not correct. See, B2B can also be a product, right? B2C can also be a service, right? I'll give you examples of both of these. B2B in product could be an employee payroll tool, right? Imagine so wherever you folks are working, right? Your company would be processing your salaries, right? Those salaries would not be processed manually. It would be processed through some platform. Right? That platform, you are not the customer for that platform, but your business, your company is their customer. Your company uploads your details and along with you, maybe another 100 employees' details. And at once, by the end of the month, they'll click on process the payroll, and all of those processes of payrolls will get processed automatically. That is B2B, which is product. Right? B2C in service could be a restaurant owner. Right? You go to a nearby restaurant. If you're in Bangalore, you know Empire Restaurant. Right? You know Truffles Restaurant. You pick up any restaurant in Indranagar. You pick up any restaurant in, let's say, Hoskos. You pick up any restaurant in, let's say, Andheri. Right? Any typical restaurant you pick up, it is a B2C, but it is a service. It can never scale. Right? You need If you want to create a new outlet, you have to put in new resources over there, and at once you cannot imagine that the Andheri outlet is serving to 1,000 people, maybe 1,000 but not 10,000, maybe 10,000 but cannot be a million, right? There are physical limitations. Right? Now, why is the scale important? The scale is important because it allows you to grow your user base. When it allows you to grow your user base, how do you manage your product to handle that kind of workload? Right? When you say that, hey, I want to create a website, right? A website is an interface, right? Whether 5 people access the website or 50 people access the website, the website part of it is pretty much, I don't have to think about, I don't have to do any manual work just to serve, let's say, 10 more clients, right? I believe there's a question. Ishan, do you have a question? Okay, not a problem. Right. So, okay, no problem. No. So let's say I have a website, right? I have a website, HeyCoach.in. Now, whether 5 people open the website or 50 people open the website, I don't have to manually do and approve each visitor over there, correct? I don't have to do any manual task. It is a website. You can just go and open it, correct? Now let's say imagine a scenario where this is 500. Okay. Again, 500 people also, more or less, as long as the server is able to manage it, a server is able to handle the load, it should be possible to accept 500 visitors on that website. Okay. Again, it is not possible for, let's say, 5 million, 50 million. Right? Even Flipkart, for flash sales, it goes down. Do you folks remember flash sales? Can you tell me which mobile Flipkart started off flash sales with? Do you know about the concept of flash sales when Flipkart started it? Let me. Am I? Yes, yes. Which day was it? When did they start with flash sales? Which day of the week? Correct, correct. Redmi is correct. Redmi is correct. Friday, not three. If I'm not wrong, I might be wrong over here as well. But as far as I remember, it was, I think, Tuesday afternoon. I think 12 o'clock they started flash sales, and every week or every once in 2 weeks they started off with uh, bi uh, bi-monthly, bi-weekly flash sales, and then they slowly moved towards a weekly flash sales, and until it reached a time when the mobile was permanently unavailable or available, right, for a long period of time. So, point being, at that time, flash sales, Flipkart was experiencing heavy traffic, and that's why Flipkart went down. Right? You used to click on the button and it used to say sold out, right? But then there was a time when you used to click on the button and the site was like, the site is not opening. It's just loading, or it's saying site is not available. What happened? The server failed to handle the workload over there. We'll once again come back to this. By the way, we'll be seeing load balancer in action today. So stick around. We'll be doing a lot of. We'll be logging into DigitalOcean and I'll be showing you a few stuff. So the reason why scale is important is because you don't have to approve each user manually. Right? You don't have to approve each user manually. Now, think about a scenario where you have a business like Amazon, and there are customers, there are retailers, all of them on the same platform, and there are thousands and thousands of orders being placed every single day, right? Just through the application. Right? Yeah, you have to manually ship it, which is still service heavy, but accessing the portal, accessing the browser is not, accessing the application is not service heavy, it is product. Right? So now that we understand what is product and what is service, and we also understand why product can scale, imagine the growth that product companies can give you. Why? Because they don't have to serve each and every client manually. Right? Uh, must have heard about Canva? Yes, yes, Canva. Have you used Canva? Yes, yes. Canva, image editing software, folks. Canva.com. Yes. Right. Now, Canva has something called Canva Premium. Correct. Provides templates. Yes. Canva Premium. Heard about Canva Premium as well. Right. What does Canva Premium do? Canva Premium allows you to access some of their paid images, paid templates, paid icons, fonts, etc. Now, Canva as a company, if you look at the business model of that company, they are not talking about giving that file or giving that icon to each user. They have created a platform where you can log in, you can pay a fee, that fee becomes a revenue to them, and you can consistently keep accessing, or keep using that platform. Right? Now, for Canva, if 1,000 people start using Canva Premium, right? Canva the free version, let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about the premium because we're talking about business model over here. Right? The Canva Premium business model for 5 people or 1,000 people, it really doesn't create a difference to Canva. Right? Because at the end, it is just a website for them where they've stored and all of it. Yeah, a little more complicated website, a web app, a little more complicated than a web app, heavily scaled web application, but we'll come to that later. So if you just talk about Canva as a platform, 5 users or 1,000 premium users, it doesn't create a difference. Right? If Canva charges 5,000 rupees for 6 months, right? If Canva charges 5,000 rupees for 6 months and 10,000 for a year, and if there are 1,000 people on that platform versus 5 people on that platform, and Canva has nothing to do with each other, it doesn't have to do any extra work. The scale is right there. They can then scale to 1,000 people and not do any additional work over there. Right? So if you talk about 1,000 into 10,000, that is the amount of revenue that Canva makes, and that is what 1 CR. 1 crore of revenue Canva just makes by not doing any additional work, just by making sure that it's a product. So for product companies, the revenue is extremely high. And because of this, the employee culture, the employee pay scale, the kind of growth that you can expect in these companies is extremely high. Right? Understanding this difference between service and product is what defines the scaling part. Right? Is what defines our growth as well. Now coming to scale, how can we ensure that products can scale? Because obviously we saw one version where I say that you all of you, if today you go to heycoach.in, you'll be able to view the website and I don't have to do any additional task. Right? At the same time, if this number multiplies by, let's say, 1,000, right? There are around 80 people in the call, 100 people on the call. If, let's say, this number multiplies by 1,000, obviously the site will not be able to handle the load, right? Or maybe, maybe 1,000 it will, but maybe not 10,000, maybe not 1 million. So somewhere we'll hit an instance where the servers will start failing. Right? So what do you do to make it scale? Right? This entire concept, this entire line, what do you do? What changes do you make in your system to make it scale? Is what system design is all about. Right? Heard of the word system design, folks? Have you heard of the word system design? Yes, no, yes, no. Where have you heard about the word system design? Where? How is it relevant to your life, your software engineering life? Srinivas, the session is getting recorded. We'll share you the recording. Don't worry. Right. Right. No, not heard about system design. I'll tell you. So system design, you must have heard about system design in two aspects. First, when you are working on an application in your company which needs to scale heavily well. Right? Your application needs to scale like crazy, and your tech team has pushed for uh, a better version of a design which can scale to more than a few thousands of users, a few tens of thousands or millions of users, right? So this is one aspect. Second, you would have heard about from an interview context. Right? You would have heard about system design from an interview context. That yeah, I have to give a system design round. I have to give a high level system design round. In any case, this is what system design round means, to understand what are the changes you need to make in your system to scale further. Right? Now, let's not waste any further time and let's get into what a load balancer does and where does load balancer fit into this equation, and I'll be showing you the live demonstration as well. Right. Harshwant, let's take this question a little later. Just put up this question once again in chat, maybe towards the end of the session. Right. Okay. Uh, Yeah, Shubham, once again, the same thing. We'll talk about this once again towards the end. HLD versus LLD of system, SD1 versus SD2. I can touch upon some of those topics as well. Right. Yeah. So load balancer by definition means a server that can balance the load. Right? A server that can balance the load. Now, if you talk about now imagine in the same, let's go back to the service industry example itself. I'm a stockbroker. I have, let's say, 50 clients, right? And these 50 clients are giving me calls, and on an average they're giving me 5 calls, 10 calls within that 9-hour window, and 50 into 10 makes it 500 calls. And as a person, I feel extremely overwhelmed that, dude, I'm talking to 500 people in a day, like that too within that 5 6 hours, 10 hours. I can't think. Right? So I come up with an alternative that, hey, you're my friend. Why don't you work for me? I'll pay you so and so, and what you have to do is take up half of my job. I'll share the profit with you. Maybe we'll figure out a business model around it. But why don't we, the two of us, do it together? You take 50 calls. You take 250 calls. I'll take 250 calls. Right? All of a sudden, my volume, the amount of queries, amount of phone calls that I was handling has reduced by two, by a factor of two. Correct. Uh, Now, if you look at this, 250 calls, 250 calls. So now I have the bandwidth to take up another, let's say 10 clients, another, let's say 15 clients. Right? So I figure out a way that, yeah, people, I'm doing amazing stockbroker business. Let's onboard some more clients. So I call up one more friend that, hey, can you also take 250 calls? He's like, yes, I'll also do it. So the three of us are sitting in the back end and making calls and attending those calls. Right? But then 250 numbers to this person, 250 numbers to that person, 250 numbers, like I'm handling 250 clients, he's handling 250 clients, he's handling 250 clients. There's no central authority to manage who's handling what. Right? So then I realized that, this is inefficient. I can't really. What if tomorrow this person has just 100 calls? I'm taking 250, he's taking 250, the third one is taking just 100. Doesn't make any sense. We might as well distribute the load. Okay. So we come up with a concept that, we need some kind of accountant, or we need some kind of authority sitting in the middle who will just ensure that any line that comes in, he equally distributes it among us, so that not all of us are overwhelmed with it. Right? Like, it shouldn't ever reach a stage where I'm taking 400 calls because my clients are extremely active today. The other two are just taking 50 calls. Might as well distribute the load. So this person is called a load balancer. This person in service industry would be a load balancer. Of course, in the industry of tech, this is a little different. This works a little differently, but concept wise, it is the same concept. A person, a system which is balancing the load between a pool of servers, the three people being servers over there. Right? So a person, an authority that distributes load across different servers between that have been added to a pool of servers, okay? And the distribution depends on a certain factors. What factors does it depend on? It depends on factors like, let's say, hey, am I good with handling XYZ kind of clients or XYZ kind of clients? Like, am I good with handling clients from Mumbai or Delhi? Right? Am I good with handling clients? So that person will decide that, oh, this is a Delhi client. This person is from Delhi. Let me give this call to this person itself. Right? And the load balancer does some intelligence, adds some intelligence, some logic, right? To understand that which server is currently available and is best suited for this particular request. Clear so far? Clear so far? Any questions? Pavitra? Yes. Try to put up questions over chat if you have any. For example, only 300 calls came. Do we really need three people? Yeah, we don't, Harshant. We don't, right? Only one person can take up that call. But then what do you do with the other two? So in service industry, that is a little bit of, you can't, all of a sudden there are, let's say 1500 calls that day. You might need more people, but then you don't want them to be permanent employees. Right? So there are limitations. You can't take in, take out people or reduce load dynamically. But in case of servers, you can do that. In case of systems, you can do that. If you don't need the system, you can kill the system. If you need more systems, you can spin off new servers. Auto scaling, yes. ASGs, auto scaling groups. Right? Okay, so I'll take 1 minute to just bring up the instance, and then we can get started with the demonstration as well. Right. So let's take a break for a minute, and then we'll move on to live demo. Yes, that's correct, Pavitra. Cost will be associated with balancing. In the meantime, folks, feel free to put up your questions over here in the chat. We'll take a break of 1 minute, and then we'll move on to the live demo. No, Omkar, there is no relation between dependency injection and load balancing. Dependency injection is more towards the code base. Load balancing is more towards system design. So dependency injection is more towards low level design. Load balancing is more towards high level design. More context on ASDs are shown towards the later part of the call. Distribution of requests, Saba will come to it, Akram. Okay, let's start. So, how do you folks want to do it? Let me just take a vibe check over here. Do you want to do it with me, or do you want to just see me do it? Because both of it is possible right now. So, do you want a webinar or do you want a workshop? Type. I see only a few people typing. Webinar, workshop seems better, workshop seems better. Webinar, okay. Webinar might go a little longer, that's why nothing else. I don't mind that. Workshop, okay. Perfect. Let's try for a workshop. If not, in case you run into issues during the workshop, we'll still move forward and go ahead with. We'll still move forward and go ahead with the demonstration. For folks who have opted for a webinar, you might have to stay a little longer, but it's okay. Even if you don't code, you'll be able to revisit it at your end without any problems. Okay. So let me just get you started. So just give me a minute, folks. I'll just get you started with the account creation. Just give me one moment. So today what we'll be doing is we'll be running two servers, right? Two web servers from scratch. Right? We'll be attaching a load balancer to it, and we'll see in action how a load balancer works. And towards the end of the session, what you would have done is created a load balancer yourself. You would have run two web servers yourself to get you started on web development, if at all that interests you ever. Right? Uh, and you will also be able to experiment across multiple other components of DigitalOcean or any cloud provider for that matter, right? And all of this and this entire activity will probably take around 20 minutes. That's it. Okay. So just give me 1 minute and I should be good to get you started. Okay. So folks, here's the link in case you have DigitalOcean account and you want to use it, you can use your own account or else you can create a new account through this link. It is a referral link. It gives you $200 to get started with. Okay. So today you won't have to bear any cost over there. Even if you want to run multiple servers or anything, it is going to be at zero cost for you. So if you can use this link, you'll get $200 in your account and you'll be able to use those credits to create servers, to create load balancers. All right. So how many of you are actually doing it with me? Just to understand, how many of you, just raise your hand if you're doing it with me. 15, 16, 20. Okay. If you're doing it with me, raise your hand. Raise your hands. Come on, don't be shy. Others, yeah, 25 people. Come on. Yes, 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 yes. More, more. 20 minutes, folks. You can do it hands on. If you have access to, if you're in front of your laptop, just go ahead. It will take 20 minutes, nothing more. 29 raised hands. Okay. 30. Perfect. Okay. Let's get started then. Right? Is it asking you to add a card? A credit card or something? Okay. It's okay. You can add it. It will not charge. You can trust me with this. It will not charge you anything. Right? It's a recognized cloud provider like AWS, GCP. DigitalOcean is a recognized card provider. I'll towards the end of the workshop, just make sure you are killing those instances. Otherwise, those instances will keep running. Right? You have you'll be adding $200. So for the next few months, you'll be able to use it. So for my first project, I was able to use I did not have to pay for infra cost for over a year. Right. Uh, okay. So let's get started. I'll present my screen, and you'll be able to see me do this. You'll be able to see me work live, and in the meantime, you can also follow the same set of things. So let me know once you've created an account, add a card, verify it if required. Trust me, do not worry about your credit card being charged. You can kill all instances and you will not be charged over there, right? This is something, it is an international cloud provider. I have been using it for more than 8 years now. You can lower your hands, not a problem. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand again. Okay, it's okay, Puneet, not a problem. I'll see if there's any other alternate payment method. My voice is very low. Folks, can you hear me well? Are you able to hear me well? I can be a little louder if you want. Okay. Okay. Neetal, maybe check your speakers once. Looks like I'm clearly audible. Okay. Sure. I'll be a little louder as well. Not a problem. Sure. 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 No problem. In case you are not able to add a card or if you're not able to move forward with a credit card or something, it's completely fine. You can watch me do it, perform it over here, and later whenever you want, you can get recording of this session and perform it at your end. Right? Understanding how to do it is more important. If you're able to do it hands on right now, great, no worries. Great. But we'll try to time box it by within an hour. Within another 20 minutes we want to close it. So let's get started. Is the account set up? We'll send it over email, Neetal. Don't worry. We'll send the recording over email. Okay. Is the account set up, folks? No problem. Folks, lower your hands so that I can do another poll once again. Sure, sure, sure. Nishtha, Yash, Akshay, Manas, Arshad, Rohit. Lower your hands in case you don't have queries. Yeah. Is the account set up? Take a minute or two if required, no problem. Okay, is it asking for any charges? It's going to be verification charge. Just ensure it is account verification charge. I think $5 or something would be the account verification. Let me quickly confirm. Yeah, 412, right? $5 would be account verification charge. Just ensure it is account verification only. You it wouldn't ask for a payment over there. Account verification charges will come back. It will create debit from your account, and it will also credit it back in another 2 working days. Okay. This is a standard penny drop transaction that they call it. It's called penny drop. For people who are from a fintech background would know it. Penny drop is you drop a penny into the account and say, "Hey, have you received it?" Like if you want to transfer 10,000 to, let's say, I want to transfer 10,000 to Rohit, I'll say that Rohit, I've sent 1 rupee or I've sent 10 rupees. Just check if you have received it and send the rest after that. It's called penny drop. Okay, account is set up, folks. The amount debited, okay. It should get credited, Harshant, as long as you have that, because it will only charge you once you create those machines. Once you create those machines, only then it will charge you. Oh, it credited already. Perfect. Okay. Another 1 minute and we'll be moving ahead, folks. Try out different payment method if you want. All right. Okay. So let's get started. I'll present my screen and you can follow it. Done. How many of you have created an account properly? Yes, Srinivas, that's correct. So initially, what they had was they had a 1 year expiry. Now they've brought it down to 60 days expiry. I'm talking about like a few couple of years back. They had 1 year expiry. Raise your hands if you have set up the account. Set up the account. It's okay, man. It's not a problem. You can view it over here. Right? I will. I will. I'll share my screen. Don't worry. 9 people have set up. Okay. Okay, fine. Lower it. Lower it. Not a problem. Fine. Let's get started. I think another 20 people would be setting it up still. Uh, but let's get started. Which link do you want? The digital ocean? Wait, I'll share it. In case I drop out, in case I ended up leaving, I'll join back in another minute. So please be patient. I'll send the link. Just 1 minute. Here you go. No problem, Lakshmi. You'll be able to find the recording. You'll be able to perform the same set of things from your home, from your at your convenience at any time. So let's get started. So what you see over here is a load balancer that I've already created. Some droplets that I'm already running. Right? But For you, you wouldn't be having any of those. If you've created a new account, you should be seeing an empty screen, create a droplet or something. Right? So you see the create button at the top, click on the create button, click on droplets. Create a droplet, select Bangalore, select Bangalore. Droplet means a server. In AWS world, it is an EC2 instance. In AWS world, it is an EC2 instance. Droplet is a server. It's a virtual machine that you will be getting. Uh, Click on. So once we select Bangalore, we scroll down. We select marketplace. 247 marketplace images. Let's select an image which has lamp on Ubuntu. What is lamp? It is my screen is already shared. You can pin my screen if you want, Shubhu. You can pin my screen at your end. Okay, we can very much take. You can start from scratch also. So, if for instance, if you want to do it through Ubuntu, you can use a native Ubuntu instance over here. Select any version that you want. Uh, but over there, you'll end up installing Apache, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, a lot of things. Right? So, I'm taking an image which already has that setup, uh, LAMP. Right? So I'm taking the lamp instance so that I don't have to do with the setup. So this is just for the demo purpose. We're optimizing for time over here to give you a very clear idea about a load balancer without doing a lot of stuff here and there. Yes, Ishan, it is like EC2 instance. A lamp, you can do a quick Google search, Shubham. It's so it was inspired from WAMP. WAMP and LAMP. WAMP is for Windows, LAMP is for Linux. It is Apache, MySQL, PHP. It's an image which has all of these three installed natively. Scroll below. So you select Bangalore. You go to LAMP. You select the type as basic. Let's go with regular, and let's go with the first one, which is a $6 plan. $6 plan. Select regular. Select a creator $6 plan. Scroll. You wouldn't have an SSH key, so you might want to add an SSH key. Do you know about an SSH key, folks? Do you know what an SSH key is? We don't need MySQL for load balancer. We don't need MySQL for load balancer. We are just taking an instance that has all of those things installed. We just need a server. Even a native Ubuntu server would do. But just for the sake of the demo, let's just go ahead with a LAMP server for now. Add your SSH key if you want. Click on new SSH key. Add your SSH key. How do you know what is your SSH key that you have to add? If you're on Linux, this is what you do. Let me send you the command. So this will, on your local terminal, go ahead and run this. This will basically, sorry, RSA. It's not RAS, RSA. So it will emit your SSH RSA key. If you do not have this, even then I think you should be able to access it through the browser itself. So don't worry if you are not able to follow this step. idrsa.pub, you'll be able to add a public SSH key over here. For instance, I have my ThinkPad, so I'll just select that. Right. Let's scroll further. Let's give a name to this. Let me just say lamp will be demo. What are we doing? We are giving a host name over here. This is the name of the instance. Nothing fancy, folks. SSH key. If you do not have it, it should still be fine. You'll be able to access it through the browser. Select a $6 plan. It comes under regular. Select basic. It's a lamp image under marketplace, and we have selected Bangalore as the region and create droplet. Yes, Shubham, you can create an SSH key which can be added for different apps, different services, different servers. So the load balancer is creating right now, so we'll have to be a little patient with this. Oh, this is very much real life project, Ishan. This is like the closest you can get to a real life project, and I'll show you how. Just stick around for another 10 minutes, and you'll be able to see how a real life project will look like. Yeah, 10 minutes. That's it. Yes, that's correct, Puneet. I deploy my code in this instance. You see this HeyCoach over here? This is the real live website that we have. By mistake, if I kill this server, you'll not be able to access. You'll not be able to access the website. We use multiple infrastructures. We use AWS as well. Some parts of GCP as well. But yeah. Okay. So it says that the droplet is ready. Sometimes, based on my experience, I've seen that it still takes a minute or two, even after it says that it has set up. So let's just give it another minute. In the meantime, I'll copy this and see if I'm able to see anything on the droplet. Yeah, I'm able to access the IP address of the droplet. We'll come to it, Arshad. We'll come to it. We'll do a very small HTML page. We'll not do a complete web application over here. Just to help you understand what the concept is, we'll do a small HTML page. That's it. We don't need to run a, but you can extend it to run a React app. You can extend it to run a Ruby on Rails app or Node.js application. Anything. You created droplet through password. I didn't get you. What do you mean you created droplet through password? You're accessing the. No, that's okay, Arshad. We'll be doing a basic HTML page. Arshad, I didn't get your question. You are accessing the droplet through a password. Is that what you're saying? SSH and password. Okay. Yeah, anything is fine. It's okay, Arshad. Right. So we have this ready. Let's click on this. How many of you have the droplet ready? Raise your hand. Yashraj, Soumya, Suyash, Harshman. Do you have your? Okay. So 6 people have their droplet ready. Let's give it another 1 more minute. I'm assuming others are working on it. Shubham, this service is provided by DigitalOcean. We can create a load balancer from scratch at our end, but that will require a lot of coding. So for now, and there are a lot of other things also that go into it, uh, implementing different algorithms. So it's best if you use the service itself. But for the sake of understanding, if you want to understand how load balancer works and you want to build it from scratch, you can definitely do it. Harshit, you'll get the answer through this. All right, so let's get started. Any more people who have their server set up? Please raise your hand if you have the droplet setup. Raise your hand if you have the first droplet setup. Yes, yes, yes. Nice, nice, nice. Raise your hands. Okay, perfect. Congratulations, folks. You have set up the first droplet on DigitalOcean. This basically means that IP address. If you can send me over here, I'll be able to see your IP address. This is my droplet's IP address. If you click on it, you should be able to see the very same screen. Right? So you can send it. So this is the first step towards a website. Right? How does this? How does this uh, go back to the domains? Now, if you go to GoDaddy or any email or any domain provider, right, and you buy a domain name, you attach it with this IP address. Right? So if you go to heycoach.in and you are able to see a website, right? At the end, it is an IP address. How do you know what is the IP address over there? You go to your terminal and type heycoach, ping heycoach.in. You'll see it is sending requests to this particular address, right? One address. What is that address? It is the address of that particular droplet. The address that you just sent me over here. Right? You can map it to a domain name and that becomes your website domain name. Are you with me? Are you with me? Yes. DNS, that's correct. That's correct. Nice. Are you with me? Yes, 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 no, yes, no. Type, type, type. Perfect, perfect. Brilliant, brilliant, folks. Let's move on. So now, if you want to host a website, you have your server ready. The application is not ready. Ready. The server is ready. You can buy a domain, connect it to the server, and you'll have this installation. So I can have heycoach.in, point to this particular IP address, and you'll be able to see this screen. Okay. Now let's log into the droplet. Let's click on the droplet. Click on the droplet and uh, click on access. Click on launch droplet console. Okay. Click on launch droplet console. Click on launch droplet console. Go to access and click on access over here on the left. Click on launch droplet console. I've added my SSH key, but I'm not using it, folks. Just because some of you did not know what SSH is, so we are skipping that. Are others still able to follow me? Folks who are not implementing it, are you still able to follow me? Just put up a yes or no on the chat. People who are observing, who are not trying it at their end, are you able to follow me? No, Yash, why? What is the problem, Yash? Tell me. Where did you lose me? I can explain once again if you need. Just put up your query, I'll help you out. Okay, so we are over here. We now this is a virtual machine. This is a machine that has been provided. You're unable to set up your SSH key. That's okay, Yash. It's okay. Just go ahead. Just go with the flow. Create the droplet without SSH key. It's okay. Even if you create it without SSH key, what happens is you'll be able to access it through the browser that the exact same way that I did. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So there is something called the web root directory. So if you do ls slash where slash www slash html, you'll be able to see an index.html page. You'll be able to see an index.html page. If I do a cat of that page, if I print the content of that page, I'll be able to see. Please log into your droplet with SSH configuration to configure the LAMP installation. This path is on the droplet. That's correct. This path is on the droplet. Problem, submit a request, submit a question to Q&A platform. What is this? It is this. So the HTML index page of this particular, the HTML page of this particular web page is over here. Where is it? It is there in where www.html. Are you able to see the screen well? I've not changed the directory yet. I'm just moving into that directory because that is where the root of the application is. It's called web root. How do you know about this? I've been working on web development for 8 years, Sudhanshu, so I kind of have an idea about it. So if you get started with web development, the first step that you would do is uh, run a server, run a backend web server. Right? Uh, the path is incorrect, Soumya. You need to add slash HTML before index. So when you run the web server, it picks up files from something called the web root directory. It is also called the www directory. Right? So then you will find a lot of docs and everything. We can share resources also if you want. Right? Puneet, this is provided by default by DigitalOcean, but not by DigitalOcean, but by the marketplace option in DigitalOcean. If you take a native EC2 native droplet Ubuntu instance, Ubuntu image, you will not have the LAMP installation over there, which means you will not have Apache, MySQL, PHP, all of this setup, which means you will not have this particular directory with this index.html page in it. You have done this in EC2 machine. That's correct, Shivam. We are doing this inside the droplet. EC2 is in Amazon terminology, but this is inside the droplet. Right. So yeah, so I know about this because this is the very first step towards web development. Right? So let's go and edit this file. Let me just put use Vim. If you know Vim, use Vim. If you know Nano, use Nano. If you know any other inline code editor, use that. To exit from Vim, you have to press colon WQ and you'll be able to exit. And you'll be able to save and exit. If you don't want to save and exit, it is colon Q. Start. So what I'll do is I'll I I'll just go ahead and delete everything in this file and I'll start writing some basic code over here. What code will be right? We'll just say let's just put up title. Let's just say hello hello world and end it. Let me just say. So this is a simple HTML page, folks. Let me say hello from my first droplet. Of course, Vim is a great choice. Let me also add a background color. Let me just say a background color of share. Let me add a heading tag. You can basically put up some basic text also. You can remove all of it and just put up a hello from first droplet. Even that is fine. But good UI is a good UI. Okay, let me save it. WQ. I'll go back to my instance, refresh it. I see hello from my first droplet. I don't see BG color. Okay, syntax error. What is it? Background. I doubt this. Let me just check. I'll put up a body as well, but anyway, it's fine. Let's just so see if you can. It's background hyphen color. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let me just change it there. Background hyphen color. Been a while since I wrote native HTML code. No. Let's save it. Also add a body. Folks, are you with me? Yeah, style and everything, of course, you can do all of it. Okay, let's do a style just so that we are able to visually differentiate between it. Style equal to, this is inline cases that we are adding. Background. If you're using Vim for the first time, it would be a little tricky. A body is also fine. Sudarshan, I want to visually distinguish the entire page. So this is what I wanted. So the moment you know that this is coming from this particular droplet, just by color we'll be able to identify that, yeah, it is coming from the first droplet. We'll come to why this is important in a bit. But are you so far with me? Are you so far with me? You see hello from your first droplet. You should be able to access it over here. I want to see some more hellos over here. If you can send me your droplet link, it would be great. Yeah, we'll do a second droplet also in another 2 minutes. Second droplet shouldn't be very difficult, and then we'll move on to load balancer. So another 10-15 minutes, folks. Vim is not opening the index page for me. Why not? If you have taken, it's the same instance. Do a vim index.html. You have to cd into the directory. Yes, let me send you the command. Cd where www html and then do a vim. Not able to clear text through Vim? Yes. Soumya, what do you do? What you can do is, wherever you are, right, let me show you how you can do it. So if you are in the first row, uh, type Shift V and go all the way down. Right? Shift V, which is capital V, go all the way down till the arrow keys. So using the arrow keys or press capital G. Okay. and then press X. Then press X. You'll be able to clear all of it. And then type X, then type I so that you can insert. Once you're done, press escape and then colon W. If you follow this, you should be able to edit it the way you want. Let me know if this helps. Another 2 more minutes, folks, will be moving to load balancer. We have set up a basic server. Let me go ahead and set up the second server now. In the meantime, you can complete the first server. We'll do the exact same set of things for the second server. What do? We click on create droplets. This time I'll be a little faster. Bangalore, go to marketplace. Remember these steps. Lamp, because we want it installed with the image. Basic plan, we'll select regular, $6 per month plan. I can add a key, but it's not required. Uh, Let me just say lamp, load balancer demo, and second, right? And I click on create. It is served by Apache server, Shubham. I'm creating the second server with pretty much the same steps. Instead of hello from load balance, hello from droplet one, what we'll do is hello from droplet two. Are you still with me, folks? We are setting up two servers, and the next step would be to set up a load balancer. Two servers. We have two servers almost ready. Let me see if this thing is ready. This server is ready. Copy. Go to the new tab. Click on it. Yes, it is ready. I'm able to see the same thing. Right? So let's log into the droplet now. We are into the second droplet. If you have got the first droplet set up, just send me the link to your droplet over here so that I can click and verify it. Let's log into the droplet. We need to select create via command line. No, you can just directly go and create it. Access, launch droplet console. That's the beauty. You don't need to create, you don't need any setup. You can do all of it through the browser itself. It opens up in a new window. I'm just trying to open up in the same window, which is where it's failing. Just give it a minute. Perfect. Okay, one second. EC2 instance, you'll have to install LAMP manually through apt-get install commands, correct? Okay, I'm into my second droplet as well. Are you with me? Second droplet. Let's do the same set of things. What did we do? We went to the webroot directory. Sorry, ls, not cat. We have an index.html file. Let's go to that file where www html index.html file. You have this entire file. Let me just go and remove this entire thing. Now I have body, and body I am adding style equal to background. Background, let's put up a background yellow this time. Okay, we have body, and now we'll put up a h1 image, h1 tag, hello from droplet 2. Are you still able to follow me, folks? Yes, no, yes, no. You folks are brilliant in interaction. I love this crowd. Okay, so done. Okay, which is better in terms of hosting? Both have its own pros and cons, Bhumi. Nothing very specific. You'll find a good, reliable server in either of those places. See hello from Droplet 2. You can access it at your end. It's not based on application, no. But based on application and based on a few other things, they like for advanced layer, for example, Paytm or Razorpay might want to have a very specific type of instance, and that might be provided only by AWS and not DigitalOcean. You can have that kind of requirement, but for a beginner level or for an intermediate or even SD2 level, this is not something we'll have to worry about. Okay. So we have two droplets. Here's hello from a first droplet, hello from droplet 2. Let me just change it. Hello from the second droplet. Okay. Okay. So we have both of these. Now, what do? We have to attach a load balancer. Okay. So let's go back. Let's go back to this create, and this time we have something called the load balancer at the bottom. Is everyone still with me? We have two servers up and running. We have two servers up and running, and we are going to create a load balancer so that through one request, one IP address, the end user can access your application, and your application will be served by both of these servers, either of these servers, right? And the load balancer decides which which particular server your request should go to. Perfect. Yes, no, are you still with me? Two servers up and running, everything's followed so far. Hmm? Any issues? Any issues? Type down your issues if you have any issues. Okay. Okay, let's start with load balancers. We click on create load balancer. We select a region Bangalore. It says 6 droplets in this region. We have two our demo load balancer, two demo droplets that we have created. Let me just select one number of node. What is a node and all of it? You will be able to find it over here. Right? A node is basically an instance of the load balancer over there. It says a monthly cost as well, but don't worry about it. You won't have to pay for it right now, as long as you kill it after the workshop. Connect droplets. It says connect droplets. So let's select a droplet over here. You see connect droplets over here. Even if you have one server running, folks, it's okay. You can create a load balancer. You don't need the second instance running right now. You can go ahead, create load balancer. Right. So let me just type demo over here. I see demo 1, demo 2. These were the two instances that we created, right? Yes, we can create a website on WordPress also, but WordPress is for non-developers. Why do you want to, as a developer, why do you want to use WordPress unless it is giving you some really good concrete results and you don't have to build it yourself? Maybe that's why it's fine. But if you're using WordPress because you don't know how to code or don't know how to run a web server, learn it. It doesn't take a lot of time. Uh, That's correct. You can create any website or backend API which can run on server. Yes. How it decides? Is it random? Yes. We'll come to algorithm, Sudhanshu. How it decides. Okay. So let me select demo 1. Let me select demo 2. So behind. So I want. So this is the pool of available droplets, available servers, available EC2 instances in Amazon terminal. So what do I want to do? All my traffic will be coming to load balancer. Load balancer will distribute it. Correct? All my traffic will be coming to the load balancer, and the load balancer distributes it to different servers. How does it decide which server to pick, etc.? We'll come to it. But the traffic distribution is going to be based on this. HTTP traffic on port 80 for load balancer will be redirected to HTTP traffic on port 80 for load balancer for the droplet as well. So let's say if I would be accessing my droplet on port 8080, right? It's not available right now, so it will keep loading. But if let's say it was on 8080, uh, we would have mentioned 8080 over here. Right? So for now, 80 is fine. Advanced settings. Now this is where the algorithm comes in. Sticky sessions. Uh, if I click on advanced, let's not do advanced right. Then there are a few set of uh, configurations that allow you to control uh, which is the algorithm that is going to decide which is a server that will serve your request. Right? So sticky sessions and all of it will come to it in a minute. Let's just create the load balancer. Right? Let me say load balancer demo. Okay, health check tells you if the server is in a good condition or not. Arshad, I'll come back to this 1 second. So shall we create? Perfect. Arshad, the fees will be refunded. Don't worry about it. Okay, so it's creating a load balancer. It has attached to two droplets with it. We'll just have to give it 2 minutes because it takes. Advanced settings will come to edition. Don't worry. Okay, you can let me take some questions in the meantime. Server is up and running, but it's unhealthy. Good question. Sometimes what happens is server. So there are a lot of things that go into their definition, Harshit, right? I don't know if this particular case is covered or not, but then there is networking that goes into it. There is SSH access that goes into it. There is incoming traffic that may not be like the server might not be in a good state to handle the incoming traffic. Right? So your server might be up and running within its context, but unhealthy could be high CPU usage, which could go, like the performance is degrading, or your API requests are taking longer than what is expected. So your server is up and running, but your the health of the server is not so great. Right? It is affected because some task is not killed. There's a lot of memory being consumed. Could be multiple things. Do health check is mandatory when we implement load balancer with server? No, not right now. Like when we create this health check, you will be able to see that the server is up and running in another 2-3 minutes. So health check right now is not going to be mandatory, but over the time, if you run a production-based instance, Bhumi, it does create a difference. So, folks, what's happening over here? Let us just understand it for a minute. What happens is you see this image over here. If you so this is basically okay. Load balancer is created. Yeah. Let's still give it a minute or two to understand how to let it settle. So what happens is whenever a new request comes in, it hits the load balancer, right? Uh, the load balancer redirects that request to one of the servers. The load balancer makes a request to one of those servers and pushes the response back to the end user. So the load balancer does merely a job of distributing the load. Right? Load balancer does a job of merely distributing the load. Right? So now, how does it know which server to go to, which server is available, which is not available? All of it. Let's talk about it in a minute. But understand this one concept very clearly, that you have a pool of servers that are connected to the load balancer. The any incoming request, the end user talks to the load balancer over there. The load balancer gets the request and forwards it to one of the servers. The servers serve the request back. Yes, yes, Shobham, don't worry. We'll talk about the implementation of the algorithm as well. In this situation, you face loading problem. Your user experience and user interface is not so good. Which situation? The digital ocean, probably there's a better user interface that exists, but I find it extremely user friendly. I just have to wait, and it has created the droplet. Like that's a very personal opinion, but I personally like DigitalOcean very well. So let me just refresh and see what is the status. Is the load balancer up and running? Two healthy droplets. Yeah, let's go back to load balancers. It says this is the demo that we created. It says two healthy nodes, one healthy node and two droplets in a healthy condition. Uh, we have an IP address over here. Let me go ahead and open it. Folks, this is the IP address of my load balancer. I'll take up some questions in some time, folks. Feel free to put it out over there. You can open this at your end, refresh it, and you see that it is randomly serving requests from both of these droplets. It's the same IP address, folks. You can check it at your end. Just refresh and see. You'll see the first request might be from the first droplet, the second might be from the second. Could be anything. Correct? Just put up a thumbs up or a put up something like awesome, amazing. Put up something. Cool, nice. Asta got the grip. Perfect. Are you able to see the load balancing happening? Yes, miracle. Oh, perfect. Great. Thank you. This makes me so much happy. Nice. So, folks, this is how a load balancer works in action. Right? What we learned today is we created two droplets, two EC2 instances from scratch, and we ended up connecting them to a load balancer. Right? When we connected them to a load balancer, what happened is a load balancer is the end user's IP address. So remember when I told you you can go to GoDaddy and you can create a domain and you can buy a domain and connect it to the IP address. If you connect it to the IP address of the first droplet, you will always see the first droplet, hello from my first droplet, right? But if you connect it to the IP address of the load balancer, right, your load balancer will automatically distribute your request to the pool of eligible servers. And your and so now I have double the capacity to serve my web application. I refresh and all the time it is going to be a new the new server that is going to take it up. It's the same IP address, right? Now, what does this mean? It means that if I open Flipkart.com, it is not simply connecting me to one EC2 instance directly. There are a lot of components that it goes through and then connects it over there. It's okay, Lakshmi. You can try it over here. You can try it over here. This is the link of the load balancer. If you connect this uh, to a domain name, you will be able to. It is stateless right now. Yes, sure. I'll go to into the stateless definition some other day. But for folks who know what stateful and stateless means, it is stateless right now. So if I go to flipkart.com and I open it, at the end, it is one instance that is serving the request. Right? And every time, and it is very much possible that my instance and Omkar's instance or Shobham's instance or Shobham's request or Rohit's request are being served from different servers. Right? This is handled by load balancers. Right? Were you able to? I'll come back to questions. There's a huge volume of questions. We'll try to address each and every question. But were you able to follow everything that I have discussed so far? Everything that I have discussed so far. Yes. 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 Folks, type. I see a lot of you are still inactive. If you've followed, just put up a yes. That's all I'm expecting. Understood? Everything that I've discussed so far, you have understood. Perfect. Brilliant. Brilliant, folks. I absolutely love you, folks. This is one of the best crowds I've got. Uh, okay. Now I'll come back to those questions as well. Let's before that discuss the algorithm. Since we have understood load balancing, let's understand how this load balancing is happening, and then we can move on to the Q&A over there. Right. So advanced section, we had skipped the advanced section of the load balancing, if you remember. Let me go to settings. I don't know. This is where the settings are. So there is sticky sessions, right? So sticky sessions is off. If I turn it on, what happens is sticky session basically means the end user. So there are multiple algorithms that act into it. There was something called they've changed the configuration. Just give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. So what happens is when you get a request, let's say Omkar has sent me a request, right, and it is served from server one. Right? Now, server one has a few set of things that it has defined, or it has in memory, or it has cached just for Omkar as a user. Right? Now, if the second request goes to server two, the server two will not have those things and will have to regenerate those things and will end up spending more CPU time over there. Right? So from the end user's perspective, and at times even authentication and authorization, if it's not handled in the best way, you might end up each server might end up doing an authentication or authorization again. Okay. But that would be a bad design, but that's out of the discussion right now. So in the server's best interest, what generally happens is, if Omkar has gotten the first Omkar's request has come to the first server, uh, it is it is extremely important that the second request from Omkar also goes to the very same server. Another request from Ishan could go to the second server, but Omkar's request should always go to the first server, at least within that session window. Right? So sticky sessions help you do that. Right? Now there are a few algorithms that load balancers internally implement to understand which server to go to. Right? One of them is round robin. It will not put in any intelligence. It will just keep a context of how many requests have been sent to with how many servers. Right? So it will just do A B C D E A B C D E A B C D E. If there are five servers, this is how it distributes round robin. Right? The second could be, let's say, what was it? Load, something around load, right? It basically balances your load. It understands which servers are, I don't remember the term, but it is something around the availability or the volume of usage of each server, right? So if one server is extremely busy in executing some requests, the next set of requests will not go to that server. Right? So if, let's say, if I do round robin, what happens is I'm distributing it equally, but processing those tasks could take a different amount of time, right? So let's say I send request. So let's say I have three servers, A, B, and C. Right? I have another. I have 10 requests. So what do? I have 9 requests. Let's say. So I send 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Right? So the first server gets 1, 4, and 7. Right? But the first request itself took more than half an hour to process, for instance, or 20 minutes to process, for instance, or it is doing some task and the CPU usage of server one is extremely high. The fourth and seventh request will take forever to complete. Right? Second and third server are in a good shape and have processed the request already, so might as well send the fourth and seventh request to server 2 or 3. So based on the load and CPU metrics of that particular server, the load balancer decides if it wants to send the new request to that particular server or not. Now, there are health checkpoints that tell the load balancer that the server is in a good shape or not. Right? If the server, if let's say the Apache server or the PHP server that we are running on the EC2 instance goes down, the health check from a load balancer point of view will go on, and load balancer will stop sending those requests over there. All of those things are controlled through this particular set of settings, right? Auto scaling group that we were talking about, ASG, are a set of groups where you automatically you define a script, you put up a script, and this process of adding a new server to the load balancer gets created automatically when the workload increases. So imagine a state where I create a this the load balancer understands how to create this instance. automatically, right? From the third one, it will create a third instance and put up hello from droplet 3. It will create a fourth one and say hello from droplet 4. It knows how to do it, right? I can define a script and do it. It's a set of commands I can give it, and automatically, as the workload increases, it will start scaling up to the max threshold that I have defined, right? So that's mostly from a demo point of view. Before you exit from the digital ocean UI, it is extremely important to go ahead and kill those droplets. How do you kill those droplets? First, kill the load balancer. Over here, destroy, click on destroy, and you'll be able to see destroy load balancer. I'm not destroying it right now, just in case you want to view it, access it. I'll destroy it in another 15-20 minutes after the call. Right? But destroy this, then go back to droplets. Right? Go back to droplets. Click on the droplets over here. There's an option destroy. Click on this destroy this droplet, and this is how you can destroy those droplets, and you will not be charged even after after you exit. Basically, you shouldn't have any open resources. Okay. Again, this was from a demo purposes. Don't kill your production applications. Okay. Apart from that, I think this was a good session. I thoroughly loved it. One another thing that I would like to highlight over here is you can host your web application on these servers, folks. So imagine so you have so whatever you have running on your local host, right, you can basically run it on an instance over here. You can connect it with load balancer, connect it with domain, and you will have your own domain.com ready with your web application behind two servers and a load balancer. This is what we have learned today. I hope this was a good session. I'll start taking Q&A. If you want to drop off, feel free to. But from a demo point of view, from a workshop point of view, we are done for the day. Right. I'll take up questions now. Okay. Questions. Please give me some high-level details on algorithm implementation at the end of the session. Yeah, we have discussed this. I hope this is clear. If not, please put up a message. So when Droplet needs to send response to the user, then the response is directly sent to the user or through load balancer. It is through the load balancer. I talked about unhealthy server situation. Yeah, you mentioned, right? If you face loading problem, your user experience is not good and user interface is not good. No, it is not just about, see, unhealthy server does not mean the user experience or interface creates a difference. It basically means unhealthy basically means that the server is not accessible or it's not reachable or it's the user experience in terms of wait time could increase, API latencies could increase. Moving on. So when you say a load balancer, is it server itself that pops up that redirects in the background? So it is not the server, Ishan. What happens is the load balancer gets the request, it forwards the request to one of the servers. At the end, it is the server itself serving it. Right? If I go and change it from hello from my droplet 1, instead of that, if I after creating the load balancer, I can do it right now if you want. After creating the load balancer, if I edit it, you'll be able to see those live changes over there itself. Let me do it for you. Yes, one second. So we are in this first droplet. Hello from my first droplet. Okay. Instead of cyan, let me just change this to let's say pink. And I open my load balancer. It's real time. I hope this is clear. It is the server itself serving the request, but it is through the load balancer. In this demo, we have created two servers, attached the load balancer with these servers. It means load balancer will only send requests to one of both the servers, right? This is not auto scaling. No, this is not auto scaling, Bhumi. We have not set up an ASG over here. ASG will require us to write a script and tell the load balancer how to create and delete, how to create and destroy servers, right? How to create new servers and how to destroy existing servers. Because let's say you have created 10 servers, your request volume is extremely low and only two servers can handle it. you can the load balancer should know how to kill the remaining 8, right? So this is the thing. When I hit IP address, I'm asked to log in using SSH. Yes, that's correct because that is the index file that is being served, Soumya. You have installed your you have set up your server very well. Now what you need to do is go to that path slash where slash www slash html slash index.html, and you will see the code from where this is coming from. Right. Once you go and remove that entire file, change it with something you want. Right. You'll be able to see this page. So remove that entire content. Just put up a hello from my first droplet or second droplet over there. Okay. If we go to that particular droplet, we can also access. Yeah, we are even that droplet IP is accessible. See, that IP is accessible, but then you would not want to have two different configurations. Right? This one wouldn't be scalable if you get a lot of load on a lot of volume on this particular instance. It wouldn't help. So that's why you redirect them to the load balancer. Load balancer balances the load. Right. I'm unable to do this because it is connected to my official email. Yeah, feel free to try this at your home, Lakshmi. I will send you the recordings. It's stateless, yes. Stateless basically means that it does not have context about the previous API calls. So, the moment I turn on stickiness, Shubham, sticky sessions will ensure that requests coming from the same IP address go to the same server as far as possible. Rohit, fault tolerance, I'll not go into that right now. There are multiple things that I'll have to explain over there. So for now, let's just skip that. How will we have a context of a request? I'll need you to elaborate. I think you were that was so context of a request. Load balancer does not keep the context of a request. In an ideal scenario, what happens, Shubham, is your authentication happens at one layer, and then it gets your request goes to an authentication layer. Authentication and authorization happens. Then it moves to the load balancer. Then your server serve the request without the authentication. Right? So context of the request best is to keep the APIs stateless. In this demo, we have created two servers and attached a load balancer. It means load balancer will, this is not auto scaling, correct? We don't have to buy separate domain name for different servers. Yes, that's correct, Tushar. You just need to buy one domain name and like flipkart.com, and at the end, internally backend, they'll take care of all servers. Right? What else? I was stuck at a place when I hit IP address. Okay, I think I've answered this. 1,000 requests was SSL config. SSL connections will establish. So 250 SSL connections basically mean HTTPS connections, right? 10,000 requests, it will be able to serve 10,000 requests with up to 250 HTTPS connections. SSL connections are talking. We are talking about HTTPS connections over here. What if there are dependent tasks distributed over multiple servers? Dependent tasks distributed across multiple servers. See, this does not make a lot of sense, Harshwant, because each server is designed right now to serve the request independently. Right? Now, let's say my first server needs help from three different servers to process the complete request. Then it's a pool of four servers that is serving the request. So you would need a similar pool of four servers to serve the request independently if the workload increases. Right? So we are not what I'm talking about one and two servers over here, you have just split that into three different servers. So in that case, even that will happen like this, right? And load balancers can come at every step. Let's say there is one another service. Let's say over here I'm rendering an image, which is a black and white image, right? And that is coming from a different server. So you could attach a load balancer in the middle as well, and ensure that this is my first droplet, second droplet, third droplet. All of them are hitting to the load balancer over there, and that load balancer is distributing the task to a different set of servers. We are going into heavy system communication over there. I'll skip that for now. But if you have followed it, great. Just leave an update if you have followed that point. Containerization, Tushar, it's a different concept. Please look it up. It has something to do with Dockers and scaling. But yeah, containerization helps you scale. That's correct. From a load balancer point of view, containerization is has nothing to do with each other. We have not even touched containers right now, right? Which load balancer YouTube uses? YouTube uses Google Cloud. Google Cloud has its own implementation of load balancers. uh, Almost all web applications or platforms that you have heard about, YouTube, Flipkart, Myntra, ClearTag, ClearTrip, Make My Trip, Google, Facebook, Amazon, all of these are using load balancers. It's not just YouTube. It's not just the amount of heavy data. It's the even IRCTC for that matter is using load balancer. A proxy and a server. While googling, I found it to be the same. Uh, a little out of topic, Shobham. I'll skip that for now. Made my day, learned something new. Thank you, Omkar. I'm glad that you liked it. Do we require to create n number of servers initially, or load balancer handles this? Traditionally, you would you we are required to create those servers initially, but if you're able to write an ASG auto scaling group, you don't need to do that. But to start off with, best create it manually and understand how it works, and then slowly move towards an ASG model where you don't have to worry about it. I've done load balancing through my in my recent project through Nginx. Is it good to use in larger project? Yes, definitely, Shivam. Great job. Thank you so much, Ishan. Thank you, Srinivas. Glad you liked it. How many requests, and too many requests, and how to know if we need load balancer in advance. You'll get to know, Shobham. For instance, at HeyCoach, when we see a lot of traffic, the CPU usage, the traffic, incoming traffic, all of this increases, and slowly the system starts degrading. It moves to an unhealthy state. We get alerts and everything. So this is the time when you move to a load balancer and spin off another server. Perfect session. Thank you so much, Asta. I'm very glad that you liked it. Uh, Rohit, fault tolerance, I'll skip. Oh, I see. Okay, a few more questions only. I was Googling and found out consistent hashing is also used in load balancer. Consistent hashing, consistent hashing. So consistent hashing basically, yeah, if you move towards see, the implementation of how what a load balancer does internally requires a lot of other things. It checks your networking, it checks what is being sent, it checks the availability of those droplets in that particular zone. There are multiple parameters that go into it, and consistent hashing is also an implementation that is captured. Uh, I'll practice this at home. I'm currently in office. Yes, I'll be able to help you out, Lakshmi. Feel free to reach out to me over LinkedIn. In case you don't have my LinkedIn ID, I am sending it to you right here. I might not be very responsive, but please feel free to put out repeated pings. Right. Uh, this is my ID. How to ASG different from containerization? A little outside context right now. Let's not go into that. How does monitoring happen? Load balancer, AWS, DigitalOcean, these services that they provide, they allow you to monitor droplets, not just at auto scaling, but even at a droplet level. I mean, how will load balancer know it's time to scale? You define those parameters. So, for instance, you can tell the load balancer that, hey, when the CPU increases 80%, add a new server. Right? If there is less than 10% request being served, then remove the server. Even if we attach two droplets and then request will go to DB, can it also have different load balancer? How will the sync in DB work? There's something called master slave architecture that you'll need to read about, Srinivas. At a database always becomes the bottleneck because database has to be the same. So reads are served from slave database while writes are written to the master database, and master will continue to become the bottleneck. So you need to split it into different services. That is where microservices architecture comes into the play. If you're not able to follow this right now, it's okay. uh, get started with it, and slowly you will start reading about it, start knowing about it, and you'll be able to get a good idea about it. Our code base will have multiple instances, one for each server. That's correct, Zishan. That's correct. uh, why is it best to keep API stateless and not stateful? uh, if you keep it stateful, it requires context of previous requests. An API request from a REST convention point of view, it needs to be stateless. If it's stateless, it just needs context about what the current request is. It does not have to worry about anything else. If you feel you need to worry about previous requests like search history, etc., you need to access the database and fetch the state. Right? Session is not the best way to store it, and stateful APIs do not do a lot of justice because uh, it comes in with a lot of things. You press the back button, you open it through different browsers. Stateful APIs from a REST convention point of view is not encouraged. Okay. URL resolves to IP address of the load balancer. That's correct. So the load balancer will now have to receive all the requests first and then route it to different servers, right? Yes, that's correct. Smith, that's correct. Does that not create the same bottleneck as sending all the requests to one server? Very good question, Smith. So see, when you, it is not that the server is not going to be, server cannot handle that volume, right? Server is able to handle that volume, but if it is requiring, if it is processing that each and every request, it is accessing, making DB calls over there, it is making uh, f- uh, it is executing 500 commands over there, it takes time to process that request. A load balancer will merely forward it to the right server, right? It is a step in the process, but the server load balancer at the end will is not processing the request, it is forwarding the request, right? So the amount of time required over there is relatively extremely low. Thank you, Shobham. I hope you liked the session. It does, Puneet. Load balancer also becomes a bottleneck, but then there are different ways to scale it further. That is what system design is also all about. Load balancers are using, or maybe so microservice architecture. It's a different concept, but load balancers are can be used in both of it. See, your application code, whether it is distributed across different servers or it is on one server, it really doesn't create a difference. The volume of requests that is coming to that server and the server processing each request sequentially is what is the bottleneck. And load balancers help you do that. It helps you manage that part of it. I hope this session was useful, folks. I still see a lot of people over here, and I still want to answer a lot of questions, but we are kind of heavily out of time. So, uh, okay, one final question I'll take, and then we'll log off. In the starting, you selected region where that server is running. Does that come under CDN? No, that is not CDN. That is that is it is where the physical location. So DigitalOcean as a data center, in that data center this particular server is coming from there, so your turnaround time decreases, right? So if I create a US based data center, the response time will increase, right? If I create a US based location, it will increase. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, folks. I loved interacting with you folks today, and have a great day. Thank you so much.